Starting Wednesday, you won't need a medical card to get your hands on pot. Recreational cannabis will be legal across the country on October 17th. There are billions of dollars to be made here. CIBC reported it could be like $6 billion a year. And Cannabis Inc. is gearing up, trying to figure out how to advertise to Canadians. Pot, it's often compared to booze, but the restrictions on pitching it are actually a lot more like those for tobacco. So let's take a look back at how those ads evolved, starting with this one from 1950.
Well, I've been smoking Camels for 20 years. I know they're mild and they really taste great.
In the days before social media, this is how people were sold the stuff they were told was fun to smoke. Cigarette ads were everywhere. The Marlboro Man became an icon. Big Tobacco even scored the Super Bowl.
And more of the pregame activities of the 1969 Super Bowl game right after this message.
There's no compromise in the tobacco, no nonsense about the taste. Camel filters. They're not for everybody, but then they don't try to be.
For smokers and tobacco companies, it was the good old days when cigarettes were cool and safe.
Yes, Camels are so mild that in a test of hundreds of people who smoked only Camels for 30 days, throat specialists making weekly examinations reported not one single case of throat irritation due to smoking Camels.
Then, in 1964, the U.S. Surgeon General announces cigarettes cause cancer.
There is no longer any doubt that cigarette smokers have a higher death rate than non-smokers.
And a few years later, President Nixon signed legislation banning cigarette ads from television and radio. It took Canada until 1988 to ban ads and prevent minors from purchasing cigarettes. The billboards came down, the magazine and TV ads dried up, but it didn't take long for tobacco companies to get creative. Tennis, anyone? The Rogers Cup used to be called the Players International, sponsored by Imperial Tobacco. Or what about Formula One racing? Even golf had its sponsors. In need of young new customers, R.J. Reynolds Tobacco actually created a cartoon mascot, Joe Camel. He got shut down too. In 1997, it was reported Joe Camel was dead at 23. That same year, the rules got stricter. Sponsorship promotion was severely limited. Celebrity endorsements were banned. Cigarette packages now have to be hidden behind all that shelving in convenience stores, and those grotesque images of what can happen when you smoke are mandatory. Tobacco's evils were pretty clear. No one really argued tobacco had medicinal benefits. Pot is different. And so was media. There was no social back then. It's a whole new ballgame, but a lot of people are expecting to see some familiar tricks. So what happens now with weed? Well, the new Federal Cannabis Act says pot ads are only allowed where young people are not permitted by law. So not on billboards, newspapers, TV, or radio. Weed companies can't promote their products in a way that evokes glamour, vitality, risk, or daring. And they can't sponsor sporting or music events. So we won't be seeing any billboards with the cannabis version of the Marlboro Man or the cannabis version of those sexy beer ads. And we won't have a cannabis sports cup anywhere. The rules for social media ads seem to still be up in the air. It's unclear if targeting an adult demographic would be enough for Health Canada, or if platforms like Facebook would even carry the ads at all. Big Weed is already getting creative, though, in their advertising. Tweed, one of the big firms, has been plastering these ads around with the simple line, "Hi, get it?" Okay, in a bar of adults, this will probably pass, but Health Canada isn't pre-approving ads, so it's still up in the air, so to speak. We're joined by Amy Wasserman. She is VP of Marketing for Canopy Growth and Tweed, which is the biggest cannabis firm in the industry, actually in the whole world. So it's going to be legal in a few days. Will we see TV ads?
You will not see TV ads, but we need to be mindful of age gating. And as a brand, we're going to
Because minors aren't allowed to see it.
Exactly. So if you are, depending on the province in which you reside, there's regulations around minors and youth seeing our advertising.
Same thing for radio?
Yep.
What about Facebook? What about social?
These platforms have age gating in place, which prevents children from being able to see ads.
So you can target a certain demographic?
Absolutely. So a child and a parent can be on the same platform, but only the parent would be served the ad based on cookies and data sets that tell us that this is an adult viewing our ads.
And reading the act, it sounds like you can tell people lots. You can tell them there's not just joints. You can tell people that there's science that makes it all sound wonderful.
Yep.
You can talk about your brand.
Yep. We can talk about brand preference.
But isn't that just advertising?
Well, but it's within an age-gated setting, and the way that we talk about our brand has to be in a responsible manner and based on informational advertising. So making claims, unless we have the research to back it up, isn't going to happen. So you're not going to see companies going out and saying this is great for relaxation or sleep or having at a party.
Because we've seen like little bits and pieces already, and
Yes.
you know, like hi. I mean, hello.
Yeah. Well, and that was
it's not hello.
Right, but a big part of Tweed since day one has been about opening up the conversation and having.
But doesn't that just say buy our product and you can get high? What's the difference?
It's about starting a conversation, and that's really rooted in everything that we do.
Buy our product if you want to get high.
Well, it will. Not all of our products will make you high. Some of it is just CBD. So we'll have products for all different people who are looking for different things. We can't necessarily talk about what those specific things are, but we can explain that cannabis isn't a one-size-fits-all solution for people.
We've seen that you're collaborating with MAD, Mothers Against
Yes.
Drunk Driving. So there's this Don't Drive High by Tweed, Uber, and MAD.
Yep.
Isn't that really just another form of advertising? You say, hey, we're with the responsible people.
I think, you know what, everything that we do is rooted in education. The 3 tenets of our brand is making sure that we educate everywhere, we shake off the stigma, and we're inherently nice while we do it.
So, but then you're allowed to advertise if you partner with MAD?
But we're not promoting consumption, we're promoting responsible use and safe driving. Nobody's spoken to people. Well, we are a great brand because we care about those things, and we want to make sure that we are the voice of responsible use in the market when it opens up.
Thanks so much for the preview.
Thanks for having me.